The strongest of the present versus the strongest of the past proves once again why all other sorcerers are insects in front of their power. Jujutsu Kaisen chapter 224 confirms that Gojo and Sukuna are the perfect match.
Whoa.
As their loneliness of being the strongest is subsided when the immovable object faces an unstoppable force. We learned in Jujutsu Kaisen that they both suffered similar feelings of isolation from society due to being so strong. Kind of like our friend Saitama. In Gojo's case, it started at birth, whilst for Sukuna, it has been a 1,000-year search for a worthy opponent. However, chapter 221 made it clear that the King of Curses will experience his love for fighting with Gojo, and the story isn't shy about showcasing that, as they have become friends, ladies and gentlemen. But let's not forget that this fight determines the outcome for the whole world. That's if the whole world lost by the time this fight is over, as the whole city is being blown into pieces with their mere exchange of punches. Gojo and Sukuna have never used 100% full power, as they couldn't fight anyone of their caliber until now. They proceed trash talking each other like old friends.
Because I don't understand him, I'm gonna take him as disrespect. Watch your mouth.
With Sukuna calling him just another nameless fish on the cutting board, who just happens to be a bit more lively than the others. Although, ironically, not only did Sukuna bother to remember Gojo, but he truly respects him as an equal. This is evident from the way Sukuna threatened to kill Gojo first, and didn't make the same mistake Uraume did. However, talking about respect, the entire community must put some on Sukuna's name. Gojo's 200% hollow purple in chapter 223 amounted to a grand total of 0 damage.
Oh my god!
This was a greeting for their fight, as they are not only at war physically, but also psychologically. Remember that it was established in Jujutsu Kaisen that there's a rule of equivalent exchange. By revealing your curse technique, you essentially get rid of the advantage of your opponent not knowing it. In exchange, your technique gets stronger, similar to a self-imposed binding vow. Sukuna, for example, didn't bother revealing his technique to Jogo, as it wasn't worth it. But Gojo certainly is, which means we will bask in the glory of their enlightenment. Gojo's 200% hollow purple was to establish that Sukuna was the challenger, and we see this premise progress in chapter 224, where Gojo's infinity surprises Sukuna as they learn more about each other. Sukuna tanking hollow purple, which moves at light speed and can erase an entire city in half, showcases how durable he is and why no other person stands a chance, adding even more context to Yuji claiming to Maki that it's okay to go all out against him in chapter 215, as he won't die at all. On top of that, his arms are back again, healed through reverse curse technique, which is bad news, as Sukuna himself states that Gojo is too happy for landing just a surprise attack. However, judging from Gojo's demeanor, it doesn't seem like he is shocked. The flashy move was just to set the rhythm of the battle, but whilst it's still going on, Gojo questions why Sukuna is still keeping Megumi's face instead of changing into his own. That's the third time man Sukuna has been asked this question. Reveal your full form to everyone already, the fandom's waiting. But this doesn't mean Gojo won't kill his foster son, as Mahito mentioned that unlike Yuji, Gojo is capable of being cold-hearted and makes essential sacrifices. This is why he claims that donning Megumi's face won't help him, since he looks just like Toji, making it easy for him to do the deed and show no mercy. Not only that, Gojo confirms the community's theory. We all mentioned that he has been doing special training in the prison realm. He reaffirms this and is hiding his new powers to deal with Sukuna for later on. In chapter 223, he described that being in the realm was like having a busy week at work, and he wouldn't want to do that again. We cannot forget that Gege himself confirmed in the fan book that Gojo is so talented that he's capable of instantly doing anything he attempts.
That's why he's the GOAT!
As a result, Gojo refined his powers, so when he was released from the prison realm, his infinity was more powerful, as showcased in chapter 222, in which his teammates reacted to it, stating it was insanely menacing. Moreover, he's had to kill his best friend once already, and had been taken advantage of due to the sentimentality he had for Geto. Therefore, he's mentally prepared to not mess up again. In contrast to, you know, Angel, who fumbled, instantly falling into Sukuna's trap.
Are you stupid or something?
However, Gojo isn't stupid as the rest of the cast claims, as he understands Sukuna survived death with Yuji, which means there is no reason for him not to test his new abilities on him. Thus, he decides to mourn or perhaps even save Megumi after taking out Sukuna. Now, the real fight begins. They exchange fists and blows that would make any other sorcerer mince meat. Maki going Mark 5 and utilizing it means nothing to them, as remember, Sukuna at 10% of his power during 15 fingers was keeping up with her just fine, which means their speed right now is tenfold. Literal small movements and exchanges destroy multiple buildings through its sheer force, thus explaining Kenjaku's statement that the only way Sukuna can be defeated by Gojo's teammates is after he's been weakened in his fight against him. Mind you, this is without any curse techniques, just their energy to warm up. And with my degree in anime bullshit science, I can tell you that blowing up buildings in Shibuya is nothing in comparison to a feat Sukuna had done whilst at 15 fingers. Sukuna's domain was 140 meters, and we can see from this panel that he absolutely desolated the entire area. No buildings, no humans, nothing survived. The amount of power to do this equates to 22 tons of TNT, which is approximately half the blast radius of the father of all bombs, and or more than equivalent to the mother of all bombs, which has a blast radius of 150 meters. And remember, he now has more fingers that grow his power exponentially, which means Sukuna's domain is literally a nuclear bomb. However, whilst lying on the ground, he then uses his technique to shatter Sukuna into a wall, fly kicking him like Liu Kang. This impresses the king, which leads to Gojo using Infinity, which breaks the bridge with his steps and hauling the whole thing at him. However, before it destroys another building, Sukuna jumps and uses his technique Dismantle like a gun. This is a reference to Yu Yu Hakusho, as Yusuke Urameshi uses the same stance for his spirit gun attack. Now come on man, that deserves a like and a notification bell for that reference and you didn't notice it. But to no one's surprise, since Gojo is him, Dismantle doesn't do anything. It's the building behind him that's completely destroyed. However, it's Gojo's reaction that's interesting and confirms that his 6 eyes can actually see Sukuna's invisible attacks of Shrine. The fanbook explains that Gojo can recognize things that don't even have curse energy, like buildings, residue, and the flow of curse energy. His 6 eyes lets him understand it to a molecular level, better than any other sorcerer. Well, while Gojo is figuring out what just happened, a fist comes flying to his face. It seems like Sukuna's strike was so powerful that it almost went through Gojo's infinity. If it was his 4 fists with full power, something different could happen as they learn more about each other, especially since Sukuna has the abilities in his arsenal to nullify Gojo's technique as the battle ensues. Now to Gojo's advantage, he turns off his infinity to take Sukuna's hand and hurls him into a building. Whilst they can't see each other, a Hunter x Hunter reference is made as Gojo takes on the stance of Gon Freaks and his Jajanken, where guess what? Yep, it blows up everything in the city again. But this moment is when Sukuna realizes something about Gojo, most likely the fact that there are instances instances where he turns off his infinity. This factor could certainly play a crucial role in the fight going forward, giving Sukuna an opening in Gojo's ironclad defense. Now, just like the natural calamities that they are, with it comes great destruction. But both honored ones casually walk out like friends and laugh with each other, with Gojo joking that he will pin the damage on Sukuna instead of himself, but quickly realizes, oh shit, everything is being filmed to the world, and that's because Mei made a betting ring on their fight for everyone to see. So guys, mad respect to the cameraman for keeping up with all that destruction and speed, bruh. Remember, the cameraman always survives somehow. We need the footage. With the whole city evacuated, it's like a literal playground for both of them, giving them the opportunity to go all out. It's evident that Gojo and Sukuna are still fooling around in this fight, not even using their curse techniques seriously. In fact, it seems like they're both just testing out the waters and analyzing each other's fighting styles. However, it will be a whole different ball game when they finally bring out their techniques. For starters, both of them are total monsters when it comes to curse energy reserves. As Yuta mentioned in chapter 140, Gojo's reserve might be lower than his, but since he has the broken ability of 6 eyes, he just never runs out of curse energy. Therefore, he cannot lose a fight of attrition or endurance. On the other hand, Sukuna is no less with insane amounts of curse energy, as evident in all his fights until now. Remember guys, Sukuna didn't get a scratch on himself facing Ryu, a sorcerer with the highest output of curse energy, and he cut him up within the blink of an eye. As for Yoruzu, the fight with her was just a preface, a mere fraction of Sukuna's full power, combining 10 shadows and shrine techniques to practice them before fighting Gojo. Clearly, when Sukuna and Gojo bring out their abilities with domain expansion, it won't be surprising to see Shibuya totally erased from the map. This goes to show Kenjaku confirming that they're both country level threats and can take over the entire world if they wanted to. But if you want to learn the entire 1000-year history of Jujutsu Kaisen that led to this very fight, watch this video on your screen as it's very important to understand the full story.